Welcome back. In this video, we will look at the physical materials and visual materials in Fusion 360. If you will, please scroll down and find Step 10 Materials. And when you have opened your file, go ahead and hide your data panel. You'll notice that because our default material is wood in this model, everything that we have created or brought in from the McMaster Carr library has been made out of the default material, which is wood. Our parts that are actually supposed to be wood are okay, but our lampshade and this bolt and washer need to be updated in order for our model to be accurate. So let's change the materials. I will go to Modify, and first I will go to Physical Material. The physical material is especially used when testing in the simulation workspace or entering the CAM workspace for 3D printing or machine toolpaths. The physical material is not 100% necessary to update in our model, but it is nice to do so. So first, let's zoom in, and we can see that these parts here are made with our stainless steel physical material. So I will orbit my model, grab my stainless steel model, and I can drop it directly onto one of my components, or open up my fastener assemblies, find lampshade fastener here, and drop it onto this component assembly to apply to all subcomponents. Next, let's go to Plastic and find ABS Plastic and drag it up into our In This Design window. This will add it to our project, but not directly add it to any components. Now, with my browser visible, I'm just moving the screen, I'll drag it directly onto my lampshade component, and you'll see our lampshade update. You'll also notice that this cap, this physical material, was this steel material. I will take the ABS plastic material and apply it directly to the cap to update its physical material. My physical materials look okay, so I can hit Close or the Escape key. One thing to notice before I move on is that my physical materials have also updated my default visual materials for the components. These components do not have a visual material override, so their physical material will show through. Let's go to Modify, Appearance to change some of our visual materials. We can see that ABS plastic is still appearing in my model, and that's right because my lampshade is still showing that ABS material. We can also see there's a paint metallic red, and that was brought in if I orbit my model with my lampshade cap assembly on the sleeve. So let's update some of these visual materials. I'm okay with most of the materials except for my wood. I'm going to go down to Wood Solid and bring in an unfinished solid wood material. You can see that I have 3D Pine already downloaded, but if it's not, just hit the arrow next to that material. I'll drag it into my model. And now I can see that I have two pine materials, which reference my model materials. So instead of dropping this onto my exact materials, which I could do by placing it one by one, I will drag and drop on top of this icon to update those materials in my model. You may get this warning that says, old material cannot be removed because it is the default material. And that's because it is the default physical material when we build our objects. We could also go to Faces and apply directly onto an individual face, but for now, we are not going to do that. I hit Escape to close my Visual Materials dialog box, and notice materials are not updated in the timeline. There is no feature change in the timeline for materials, so remember when you did them and remember when you updated those changes. The last thing I would like to do is edit the texture map controls on my visual materials, because it looks like right now every piece of my 3D wood was cut out of directly the middle of the same tree. It's okay that they look like they were cut out of the same tree, but I'd like them to look like they were cut out of different parts. So I will hover over one of my faces, right-click, Texture Map Controls. You'll see my Move and Rotate gizmo appear, and now by moving my material around, this 3D material will update and it will look like it's being cut out of a different part of the tree. I will do this for all of the wood components in my model. You can also experiment with rotating your materials, but again, because this is a piece of wood for all of my objects, I don't want to rotate the material too much or else it won't look realistic. That all looks pretty good, so I will return to my home view and hit OK. Again, notice that in my timeline, Texture Map Controls is not a saved feature. My model looks updated, so I will save my file. And in the next video, we will bring in the plug and the switch for our lampshade cord. I will see you in the next video.